English step by step. First conditional, step 1. Click like if you'd like to see more videos like this. Click subscribe if you'd like to see my other videos. And you can request a lesson in the section below. When do we use first conditional sentences? Well, we use this sentence structure to talk about conditions which are real possibilities. So, real possibilities. For example, if I feel cold, I'll put on my pullover. So, it's a possibility that I'll feel cold. If Alison needs help, she'll contact you. Number 3. We'll come home if it rains. Number 4. They'll go to a restaurant if they get hungry. And then we can also make negative examples. Hurry, the negative is don't hurry. If you don't hurry up, you'll miss the flight. If he doesn't feel tired, he'll keep working. And then we can also make the negative with will, which is of course won't. Number 7, we won't go to the concert if we don't get a ticket. We won't have a picnic if it rains. So there you have conditions which are real possibilities. So now let's look at the basic form of the first conditional. Conditional sentences have 2 clauses. The clause with if is the conditional clause, and the clause with present simple is the main clause. Now, the conditional clause and the main clause can be first, second, or the other way, second, first. So you can put the clauses in both positions. The main clause is the result or the consequence of the conditional clause. Notice that the conditional clause, if the conditional clause comes first, we use a comma. For example, number 1, comma, number 2, comma, because the conditional clause comes first. If the main clause comes first, we don't use a comma. For example, number 3 has the main clause first, and there is no comma. So let's look at some examples. Number 1, if I feel cold, I'll put on my pullover. So there you have the condition, and then the comma, and then the result. If I feel cold, I'll put on my pullover. Number 2, if Alison needs help, she'll contact you. Condition, result. Number 3, this one has the main clause first, and the condition is in the second clause, and there is no comma. We'll come home if it rains. Next one, they'll go to a restaurant if they get hungry. The next one is the condition first, and this one has the verb in negative in the conditional clause. Hurry changes to the negative, don't hurry. If you don't hurry up, you'll miss the flight. Next one, if he doesn't feel tired, he'll keep working. Now, number 7 has the negative verb in the main clause. Go changes to won't go. For example, we won't go to the concert if we don't get a ticket. Number 8, we won't have a picnic if it rains. So there you have the basic form of first conditional. So let's look more closely at some examples to see the structure. Number 1, if I feel cold, I'll put on my pullover. Now here we have present simple and then will put, will plus infinitive. So there we have the basic structure. Present simple, will plus infinitive. For example, if I feel cold, I'll put on my pullover. So there you have feel, will put. Another example, if Alison needs help, she'll contact you. Needs, will contact. And of course, it can be the other way around, with will plus infinitive in the first part of the sentence and present simple in the second part. We'll come home if it rains. Will come in the main clause, rains in the conditional clause. They'll go to a restaurant if they get hungry. Will go, get. Next example, number 5. If you don't hurry up, you'll miss the flight. So there you have present simple negative and then will miss. So there you have present simple, will plus infinitive, don't hurry, will miss. Next example, if he doesn't feel tired, he'll keep working. Negative present simple and will keep. And the next one is the main clause first. We won't go to the concert if we don't get a ticket. So there you have will changes to won't in the negative and then present simple don't get in the conditional clause. Next one. We won't have a picnic if it rains. Won't have, rains. So there you have the basic structure of present simple and will plus infinitive in first conditional sentences. So when we are talking about real possibilities, we use will and the present tense form in a conditional sentence. Now note, when we are talking about situations which are not real possibilities, we use would and we use the past tense form. Now, that's second conditional. Situations which are not real. Now, watch my videos on second conditional for more details and examples of these. Let's briefly look at some comparisons now between first conditional and second conditional. Example 1. If I see John, I will say hello. That's possible. If I saw a UFO, I would take a photograph. Now, this situation is not a real possibility, so we use the past tense and would. Example 2. If he can find the key, he will give it to you. Example, second conditional. If he could find a magic key, he would open every door. Now that is not a real possibility. It's imagining a situation. Number 3. She will buy a sandwich if she gets hungry. Real possibility. She would buy a palace if she were a millionaire. Well, that's just an imagined situation. Example 4. We will go to a restaurant if we get hungry. Real possibility. We would go to Canada if we had enough money. Well, this is just imagining a situation. Number 5. If he wins the race, he will celebrate. It's possible that he will win the race. If he won £1 million, he would travel around the world. Well, this is not a real possibility, so we use the second conditional with would. So we've looked at the basic form of first conditional sentences. The basic form is will plus present simple, and of course negative won't plus present simple negative. But there are variations, so let's look at some variations. You can use going to instead of will in the main clause. For example, I'm going to meet David if he has time. If he passes the exam, he's going to celebrate. If they drive too fast, they're going to have an accident. Now, the main clause can also be an imperative. For example, if you need help, phone me. You can see the imperative verb phone has no subject. It's just telling somebody to do something in this situation. Another example. If you see a snake, run. Again, imperative, run. Next one. Contact us if you have a problem. So this is, again, the imperative form with no subject. More variations. You can use might or may instead of will in the main clause, and this expresses uncertainty if you're not sure. For example, if Alison needs help, she might contact you. We may come home if it rains. We might not have a picnic if the weather is bad. Now, another variation is using present continuous, and you can use this as well as present simple in a conditional clause. For example, if it is snowing, we'll stay at home. So, instead of if it snows, we'll stay at home, you can say if it is snowing, we'll stay at home. Present continuous. Another example, don't disturb her if she is working. In other words, her activity is continuing in this condition, so we use the present continuous tense. Number 3, if the baby is sleeping, we'll watch TV. Next one, we might stay longer if we are enjoying ourselves. So there you have some situations in which you would use present continuous. And here are some more variations. You can use can instead of will in the main clause. Now, can express a possibility or permission. For example, here, if Tom is here, we can ask him a question. So that means it's a possibility. Number 2, if we have a ticket, we can enter. So that's permission. The ticket gives you permission. Number 3, we can have a holiday if we have enough money. So that's a possibility. Number 4, if you're unemployed, you can apply for help. So that's permission. Another variation is you can use present perfect instead of present simple in a conditional clause. So there you have present simple, present continuous, and present perfect are all possible in the conditional clause. For example, if Tom has arrived, we'll speak to him now. Number 2, if the children have finished eating, they can play in the garden. 3, we'll board the plane if it has arrived. Number 4, they'll play in the garden if it has stopped raining. 5, if they've passed the exam, they will get a certificate. So there you have present perfect or present simple or present continuous in the conditional clause. So that brings us to the end of this Step 1 video on first conditional. You can move on to the Step 2 video where you'll find a practice exercise.